Welcome to The Glitter Effect, a podcast dedicated to shining a light on the movers, shakers, change makers, and all-round living legends of our communities who are making a real difference. On today's episode of The Glitter Effect, I'm joined by a lady who heads up an organisation that aims to change lives every single day through the power of dignity, confidence and opportunity. Samantha Gowan is the CEO of Dress for Success Victoria, a global organisation dedicated to empowering women to achieve economic independence by providing professional attire, career development support and a community of encouragement. The work at Dress for Success goes far beyond clothes. It's about helping women see themselves differently and enabling them to step into new possibilities and possibly rewrite their futures. In this conversation, we'll explore the heart behind Dress for Success, the incredible impact it has, and Samantha's own journey of leading with compassion and vision. I'm so excited to sit down with Samantha and shine a light on the glitter she spreads through her mission and leadership. Samantha Gowan, welcome to The Glitter Effect.
Thank you, Kate. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. Now, we're going to jump straight in and tell us, what is Dress for Success? How did it start? And yeah.
Okay. Dress for Success is an organisation that supports women who have come from hard times, long-term unemployment, domestic violence, ex-incarcerated. It was started back in the 1990s by a woman in New York, and it was started in her basement. It has grown since then, and we have affiliates all around the world. We have 6 in Australia. We run as separate organisations, but we also try and work as closely together as we possibly can, because you get far more effect if you're a big organisation than a small organisation standing on your own.
And what's the main goal? What is the mission for the organisation?
The mission is to empower women to become financially independent and also to be the best they possibly can. A lot of our clients, or most of our clients, come from, as I said, long-term unemployment. There's low self-esteem. They really don't believe in themselves. So we try and build them back up and give them a belief that they can go on.
So is this helping them to get into the employment sector again? Are they generally unemployed, or are they?
It's helping them get back into the employment sector. As I said, a lot are long-term unemployed. Some have never worked. We also have women who have come from overseas who are highly skilled, but in Australia their qualifications are not recognised. So we style them. We offer them workshops so they can hone some of their job application skills, but our workshops also go beyond that, because if you've been a long-term unemployed or entering the workforce for the first time, it can be quite daunting. So we support these women basically to become empowered and grow the community, because a strong woman not only grows her family but supports the community around her.
That's amazing. And how do people come because they're referred to you generally, or is it that they can come independently, or how does it work?
We get referrals from the job agencies and also organisations who deal with women who've escaped domestic violence and family violence, and they also come referred from the prison system. So, but we also get a lot of people who hear about us through community billboards, etc., and they come as self-referrals.
Oh, fantastic. And are you obviously you have a lot of volunteers. Are you mainly volunteer run? How is it set up?
We have 3 permanent part-time employees, and then we have about 43 volunteers, but we are always looking for more volunteers. Unfortunately, if you've got clients, you need to have the volunteers on tap.
Yeah. And is that, as you said, you're based Victoria. So does that mean you have almost like satellite centres across Victoria, or do you have like a main centre in Victoria?
Currently, we are based in Frankston, but we are now state run or statewide. Currently, we do virtual dressings and styling and workshops for those
Okay.
people who are in the rural areas. And the rural areas really do need support because they don't have the facilities and resources that we do in the city.
How's that taken with the sort of the online side of things? How do people go with that? Because it was sometimes a bit different, wouldn't it?
Look, because it became quite commonplace during COVID, our
Yeah,
stylists are very proficient and they always make the clients feel very comfortable. But look, there's nothing like being in person, and our ideal is to actually start doing outreach in the next 12 months,
great.
which will require us to get more volunteers and to be able to find premises in the rural areas where we can actually do the styling.
Yeah, and as an organisation, are you funded to any degree, or are you pretty much reliant on donations and the
We
generosity?
are 100% reliant on donations. We are not government funded at all.
Yeah,
We're
right.
fortunate to have some very good sponsors,
Hmm.
and we do have some grants, but yes, it's all through um, donation.
And presumably a number of corporate partnerships too. Do you find that
Yes, we've
is an
got
area?
some great corporate partners: Forever New, Novitar Diamonds, Blue Illusion, Commonwealth Bank, a number of supporters in that area. So that's great to have them on board.
That's lovely. And
Mm.
when did you start as CEO of Dress for Success Victoria, Samantha?
I started as CEO of Dress for Success Victoria earlier this year, but I have had a 3-year relationship with the organisation now.
Yep.
I actually started off as a volunteer back in 2022.
Wow. That's a pretty good journey. And
It's been a bit of a roller coaster, I've got to say.
that's a huge trajectory. And what attracted you then as a volunteer to Dress for Success? Because I know there'll be people listening whose ears are pricked up to know how they can help as well. So talk us through that.
I have always had a want and a desire to help people. I lived in Melbourne and was volunteering at Sacred Heart. I moved down to the Mornington Peninsula and heard about Dress for Success and was inspired about how we transition women. You see a woman walking in the door and she really is downhearted and low self-esteem. When she leaves, she's got her shoulders are back, she's got pride, and she really feels like she can make a difference. And that is a great feeling to,
Mm.
I think, as one of our volunteers said, she gets more out of it than the clients do because she just finds it so rewarding.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mm.
And so 3 years, and then what did you get the tap on the shoulder? Could you be how does that work?
No, it didn't quite happen like that. Early last year, the board was transitioning,
Yep.
and I was asked by one of the board members if I would like to step onto the board, and I went, "Oh, that sounds really good. I'd really like to make more of a difference." I then was nominated as vice president, and then later this year was nominated as president. So, and early, because we are such a small organisation, there is a lot to do. So, in the president's role, I was probably working 45 to 50 hours a week as a volunteer,
Oh,
and
wow.
and the board decided that we really needed a permanent employee that could do that role, and I
Mm,
was asked if I would step into the role.
that makes perfect sense. And now you just touched on it then, you were going through a transition. What was the transition? Talk us through that.
Well, we transitioned from not only groom to go, we also transitioned to Dress for Success Victoria. Previously, we were only Southeast Melbourne and Mornington Peninsula, and
Right.
we really only supported women in that area.
Mhm.
Um, Around Australia, all the other affiliates are statewide. So because you can't just go back to Dress for Success, you actually have to go through a proposal process. We actually requested to become Dress for Success Victoria. So
Okay.
with the view that we wanted to help more people rather than just women in the inner Melbourne, Mornington Peninsula area.
And how are you finding that, growing that? Because it's a slow burn, things like this, but presumably it's frustrating in parts because there are people who need you, but they don't necessarily know about you yet. How's that
It
going?
is just chipping away. Currently, we had to rebrand. We had to get ourselves in a position where we for the programs that required. So now we're just reaching out to rural areas. The last month or so, I've been reaching out to the job agencies. We're going to start reaching out to the community centres because when you meet the job agencies, they have all the contacts because, as you would understand, the rural area is fairly close. Most people either know someone or know of someone.
Yeah.
And we also need to get to know the businesses in the area because to run outreach programs is not going to be a cheap process because you have to be able to cart all the clothing there. You need to have the volunteers. Some of the rural areas are quite some distance away. So we will need to find sponsorship in those rural areas. So it's a bit of a, as you said, slow burn and trying to juggle all the pieces and make them fit properly.
Yeah, but you want to do it right, don't you? Do it
We
once
do.
and do it right. I think that's the key, isn't it? And it's things. It's just making sure that people know who you are and what you do and the incredible things you do. I know you said you've got your corporate partnerships and all the clothing. The clothing doesn't just come from corporate partnerships, does it?
No, we have some very generous supporters who do their wardrobe clean out once or twice a year. And we also have corporate clothing drives and get a lot of our clothing that way. We do have quite strict criteria with our
Mm.
clothing. It has to be lightly used. There can't be any damage, stains, whatever. We believe that the women we support deserve that dignity.
Mm.
So we do have a fairly strict culling process. A lot of you would be surprised what some people donate. But we also have clothing which is donated, which is not suitable, which we have in sales, etc. So
Yeah.
last year we saved 4,000 tonnes of clothing from landfill, and
Wow.
the clothing that is damaged, if one of our volunteers who's very handy with a needle and thread, if she can't fix it, it goes into what we call a rag bag.
Yeah.
And that is picked up by an organisation who will turn the clothing into rags for the builders and mechanics, etc. And those items that are good enough to go overseas to developing countries are sent over to developing countries.
Wow. So that's a lot to coordinate, isn't it,
It
really?
is. It is.
So you've obviously got people in place who help coordinate that and you
Yeah.
oversee all of that.
Yes, yes. I've got a ops supervisor who helps with the day-to-day running and has all the contact
Yeah.
information.
That's incredible. I love that. I didn't know that about you. I actually know about Dress for Success for a long time and I
Yeah.
didn't know that it was beyond that. So incredible. Now, with all not-for-profits, we know that it's very rewarding, and that's obviously why people do get involved. But it can also be extraordinarily challenging. Have there been moments that have been like the toughest hurdles that you've had to get over, and how have you done that? And then on the flip side, what have been some of the things that you've been able to celebrate, and some of the rewarding things?
Look, funding is always challenging, trying to find funds to keep the doors open. So that is quite a challenging process. So it's always networking and always reaching out to people. As I said, we've got some great organisations. We've got a marketing organisation called Welcome who has just come on board and they're running a function for us, bringing fashion houses together to have a fashion parade, and that's running at the end of this month. And
Fantastic.
that's really exciting. And they're donating the profits from ticket sales to us, so and also encouraging donations. So fundraising is always hard because
Yeah.
there's lots of competition, lots of worthwhile organisations out there.
Mm,
We've just recently put on a fundraising and events lead who she will take that on under her banner, and we're hoping we'll grow that area considerably.
great.
Quite a talented young woman. And the highlights, this year we ran a gala, which was our first gala ever.
Yep.
And that's all, that was a huge success. We'd like to grow that and move from Frank's in Melbourne, spread the cheer there. And then we've also a video together this year of some of our client advocates, and just hearing their stories, although it's emotive and they start off really sad, seeing where they are now is just so elating. I just get so excited every time I see it, and
Mm.
I've seen it many a time, trust me.
Oh, I'm sure. But that's actually my next question. Are there any client stories that have actually stuck with you over the years and that on those hard times that keep you going? Because sometimes that's what you do it for, right?
Look, part of our transition has been growing those relationships, and we've got much better at that. We now have 2025 client advocates are amazing, and they are actually the stars of our video.
Mm.
And all three stories are so inspiring. Lindsay had cancer and had a 4-year journey of going through cancer treatment. She was a teacher, and because of the load of teaching, she couldn't work every day.
Mm.
And she's now a celebrant, and she's amazing. She's just
Fantastic.
shining, and just listening to the transition from not having any clothes to wear to having the confidence to get out there and start her new career is just amazing. We've then got Tegan. She's another amazing young woman who came from the domestic violence space. She really had hit rock bottom. A
Mhm.
very sad story. Ended up losing everything. Her daughter moved home with her mum, and she felt that she had nothing to live for. She
Mm.
then came to us, and she now has got not long after coming to us, she got a job in childcare, and she was a childcare supervisor, I think it was, and she got employee of the quarter and was taken to
Oh,
Bali for a trip. So that makes
wonderful.
that makes you feel really good. And then we've got Sashi, who's a young mum, and through her young son's illness, he was born with a number of health issues. And she tells how every time something went wrong, and he still struggles to this day, every time something went wrong, it was a chip away at her self-confidence. And she came in and she talks about the clothing that she now wears in her job. And she actually says she feels the arms of the woman who styled her around her every time she wears the outfit.
Oh,
So, and
that's
she now
beautiful.
is supporting her family. So, yeah,
Mm.
all very inspiring women.
Yeah, that's given me goosebumps, Samantha. And look, at 3 very different stories, and it's just got me thinking, and it's really what it's all about. But I know when I put an outfit on, sometimes you just feel like you can take on the world. And so it's amazing the power that something that when you have it and you take it for granted, um, the power it can have, and then imagining not being able to have that power to put your, I don't know, when I was in the corporate world, you'd power dress to take on the day. So, and it's just comprehending that people can't do that. And that's why these organizations like Dress for Success Victoria are so important, because everyone has that right.
Yes, yes. Well, one of the things Lindsay said in the video I mentioned was that she felt that she was almost, well, not a phony, that's not the right word. She used other words, but she said she could afford to put food on the table, she had a house, etc., etc. And she didn't feel like she deserved it, but she could not afford clothing, and she went through her wardrobe, and because of her chemo treatment, nothing fitted her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she needed someone to not only tell her she could do it, but style her and see clothes that would suit her and make her feel good about herself.
Mm. And such a simple concept, but so powerful. I really, really love it. Now, a little bit about you, Samantha. What have you learned along the journey about your leadership, even though you're still very new to the role, and also resilience, and also what about the human capacity for reinvention? What have you learned along the way?
Look, I have learned that through leadership, that you can turn around.
Yeah.
Um, working and leading by example is so important. Um, Believing in people, giving them a voice, which I like to think that I do with our employees and also our volunteers. You know, I have an open door policy. Not that I have a door on my office, but you know, people know that if they have ideas or whatever, that they can just reach in and say, "Hey, Sam, what about this?" Or "Sam, I've
Mm,
thought about that." And you know, I find that very rewarding that they feel so comfortable that they can come to me and make suggestions. And some of our greatest suggestions have come from staff members and volunteers.
yeah, that's great. And has there been an unexpected gift this role has given you?
Oh, that's a tricky
Mm.
one. I think the gift of satisfaction and the warm feeling I get every day that I go into the
Mm.
organisation. I've worked for a number of large corporates. My background was in training and development and change management. And, you know, as you say, you put on the power suit, you get dressed up, you walk into the city. But I never felt the satisfaction and passion that I do for what I
Mm.
do today.
That's lovely. So you
Mm.
found your purpose.
I did, yes.
Yeah, that's great. And you're clearly spreading your glitter in your purpose, which I absolutely love. I love. What's on the horizon for Dress to Success Victoria? I'm sure you've got lots of things in the pipeline.
Look, we do. Two things that we're focusing on at the moment. One is the outreach to rural Victoria, and that to us is very important. But also, we are wanting to get more aligned with organisations in the domestic and family violence space.
Mm,
We've created what we call a care pack program because a lot of women who actually escape from domestic violence will always make sure the kids have everything they need, but they will
yeah.
leave the house with nothing. So we've started putting these care packs together. They include a couple of outfits, shoes, underwear, your hygiene products, your toiletries. And so when they come in the middle of the night, they can just grab that pack and at least they have something to wear for the next couple of days while they
Mhm.
get themselves sorted and make the right contacts because a lot of these safe houses have number of contacts like legal aid, housing, uh, support group. So at least they can focus on that and getting their life started again. And then hopefully, once they've started getting their life up and running again, they come to us and they can have a full styling session and just have an hour just for them where they get 5 new outfits ready for the workforce and ready to move forward in life.
Beautiful. That's so good. Now, just a nice one about you. Obviously, this is called the glitter effect, and I'm a firm believer that people have their own glitter to spread when they find their purpose, and they then spread it with purpose and heart, which you clearly are doing. But in order to get to this point, there's always people who have inspired people along the journey. So, who have been your glitter kings and queens that have inspired you to be who you are today?
I think my parents definitely. My
Yep.
parents always gave back. For many, many years growing up, I was always taught that there is always another seat at the table, or we always have time to help others.
Yep.
And they were always very strong in that. But also Audrey Hepburn. I love what she did. I love not just her acting, she was a great actress, but, what she did for the community and other countries just was so inspiring. So those would be the three people that I really admire and would like to sort of try and be like.
Yeah,
Not
that's
sure whether I
amazing.
am, but I'm working on it.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. And finally, if anyone wants to find out more about Dress for Success Victoria or wants to support them or find out ways they can get involved, where's the best place for them to go, Samantha?
If they look us up, look up Dress for Success Victoria, I'm pretty sure we're the first one that comes up, and call or send us an email. There is an email contact. But yes, we always are keen to hear from people, and yes, volunteers, people who'd like to fundraise, donate. They're all very welcome inquiries.
Amazing. Samantha, thank you so much for joining me today on The Glitter Effect and for sharing the powerful story of Dress for Success Victoria. The way you and your team lift women up, helping them to rediscover their confidence, reclaim their independence, and step into new opportunities is nothing short of inspiring, and I applaud every single one of you. Your honesty, your passion, and your belief in the potential of every woman truly shine through. And I know our listeners will walk away not only moved, but also motivated to spread their own glitter in their own meaningful way. The work you are doing is a reminder that change starts with small acts of kindness, encouragement, and a belief in one another. The world needs way more leaders like you, Samantha, and I'm so grateful that you shared your glitter with us today. I wish you and Dress for Success Victoria all the very best, and hopefully we'll keep in touch with your progress, and we'll be in touch again soon. Take care.
Thanks, Kate. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining me, Kate Ganneil, on The Glitter Effect. If you've loved this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep showing up, making an impact, and sprinkling that glitter wherever you go. Bye for now.